Welcome, guys. We're super excited to be sitting at the Burger Social with one of the legends of the bourbon world, Mr. Steve Nally from Bardstown Bourbon Company, who is one of the geniuses behind many of the whiskeys that we get to drink. Thanks for joining us today, Steve.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited about this.
Beautiful. We got 3 of your wonderful whiskeys sitting in front of us right now. I think we should start off by talking about those whiskeys, and then we can kind of learn a little bit about you, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about the Fusion series that's you guys' I'm assuming that's the mainstream, like the mainline one, right?
That is correct. The Fusion is the first product that we put on the market that has product that was produced at Bardstown Bourbon. We started out with a very unique process with it. We took approximately 52 samples, blends, different percentages, and we went not just the distilling team, we had the culinary team, the beverage team, and the distilling team, about a 12-member panel that went through the process evaluating, similar to the Final Four bracket, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Narrow it down to 26, narrow it down to 10, narrow it down to 6, and narrow it down to 1. And we rated it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the very worst, 5 being the very best.
Johnny wouldn't understand that.
He wouldn't understand.
He needs
numbers.
1 to 10.
Okay. But we averaged all of the ratings out. We didn't have a yes no type of thing, and we came down to the one that was selected. It ended up to be a very unique product. I think one reason is because 60% of it is a 2.5-year-old product that we made at Bardstown Bourbon. We had like 18% of a 20% wheat recipe, 42% of a 36% rye recipe, and then 40% of it was a purchased product that we bought from another unnamed distillery in the recipe. So, we did that evaluation, that process, and we narrowed it down to Fusion 1, which is out, which is what we tried a while ago.
I think it's cool that you actually, not only that you're willing to talk about it, but you literally print it on your bottle. There's so many other distilleries or whiskey out there that they want you to know nothing about that. They're very secretive.
Well, that's one thing we're trying to overcome, is that consumers want to know what is in the product, how it's made. So to clarify that, you can go to different bars, different places, and you'll get different stories about how it's made.
Yeah.
So we put it on the side of the label. That's part of our transparency, that we want you to know exactly what's there. So we put the recipe, the age, the mash bill, the source it came from, everything that we could legally put on.
Yeah.
It says Kentucky bourbon because we cannot legally disclose the distillery itself.
Right.
But we disclosed everything about it that's possible to disclose. That's true with our whole facility. If you come to the distillery, you go through the facility, you can take pictures, ask questions. We have over 40 recipes that we produce. All of them are posted in the distillery for you to see.
I think it's awesome, and it makes my job easier at bartending that I don't have to memorize all the different percentages in there. I can just cheat and tell the customer.
I think it also, when you're drinking the product, it makes you a little bit more appreciative when you know all the different recipes that go into it, and you see, like, obviously it's all handcrafted, and it just makes it that much better of an enjoyable experience. I know I'm enjoying this Fusion #1 over here right now.
Then it helps you, like, if you're able to know everything about what's in every product, then you can find the next great bottle without having to, guess and check. Right?
That's true.
Well, as you know now, the consumer is very inquisitive about what they're drinking, how it was made, where it came from, every part about it. And with social media, it's hard for us to BS people about what happens, because you're going to know and you're going to tell me what's actually done.
Yeah, right.
And that's the younger generations are known for seeing through BS because of social media. So when you're transparent like that, there's no BS, which is awesome. And that's one of the markets you got to reach, especially through social media.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want. You got something, Johnny?
Yeah, I just talk about the bottles for a second. They're beautiful looking bottles. They got some nice etchings on the side of them. Can you kind of just go into detail about the look and the bottles and kind of why you guys chose that look to them?
Okay, we like this look of it because it's more in the transparent side of bottles. You see frosted bottles, you see bottles with labels that are so big they actually cover the whole thing. Well, we want you to see the product. We are in the process of changing the label a little bit because when you put it up on the back bar, sometimes it disappears.
Yeah.
And we are working on that. The etching on the backside is the products that are ours are going to have either the corn stalk or there's a huge tree at the distillery that will be accented on the back side of it. Our partners that we do collaborations with, we're going to have their logo on the back of the bottle. So that's going to kind of distinguish one product from another. And colors will come into play. We're going to kind of lean towards the green, which is kind of typically rye, kind of accent any insinuation that this is what it is.
So you guys collaborated with Copper and Kings. You got the collaboration right there. That's finished in an apple brandy cask. For how long do you guys finish it?
We kind of go a little different route than a lot of your finishes are 6 to 8 months old, in the barrel. So I don't feel like the flavors really marry together or blend together to get the full benefit out of them. So we actually went 18 and a half months on this finish.
Oh, wow.
And we went back at, after a year, we would go back and take a sample, evaluate it. 14, 16 months, we do the same thing. And we let it go. We found that most of our finishes are 18 to 20 month period to really get the full benefit of the barrel and the product that was in it to mix with or marry with the whiskey.
Nice.
You guys have the ability to wait that long because we were talking about this earlier right before we jumped on. I asked too many questions.
I heard you.
Yeah, right.
I didn't want to tell you to say it. But
That's our big line.
Save it for the podcast.
That's our favorite line. Save it for the podcast. Yeah. So you guys have been killing it since day one. You guys have been making money since day one. So you've been able to hold on to product and wait until you think it's absolutely ready.
That's been a unique part of our process, part of our business is when we first started building the facility, the mindset was that we would produce product for ourselves. During the building process,
we've been talking about that for weeks or months. We haven't done any of that yet.
You better start.
I know, right?
That we actually got requests from other producers, other labels that, where can we find product at? The excess from Heaven Hill, Barton's, Jim Beam, whoever has dried up, they need all their product. So they could not get it from them. So during that process, also what they got from them was what they produced in excess. They had no control over what it was. In our business plan, we sat down with the customer, with the label that we're producing for, and go over every part of the production. We custom build the recipe to their needs. So that part of it is of great benefit to them because they can actually say, this is my recipe, this is my product.
Right.
And they can
without
also
having to do any work.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I'm getting to that part.
Yeah.
They actually can come in and work alongside of my operators to produce the product.
Cut your labor cost.
One of our customers actually brought video crew in, and they videoed the process so that they could use that in their marketing and sales.
Yeah, that's smart.
When we opened in 2016, we had actually sold 90% of our production capacity to other clients, which, as you said earlier, pays the bills.
Yeah.
That keeps us going. So we do have cash flow. We don't have to put product on the market. About 10 months later, we doubled. We went to 3 million proof gallons. 2018, in June, we went to 6.8 million proof gallons. And that was all because of client need, client demand.
That is an incredible amount of alcohol, by the way. If anyone didn't listen to the previous podcast with Few, this is on a completely different scale than what they were doing.
yes.
Completely different.
Well, to put us up volume-wise, we are about the 9th largest producer in the country.
And you guys have been around for how long?
Well,
7 years?
We're getting old now. We've been producing for 3 years.
That's funny.
Now, I know you're in the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame, but I heard that there's a better half of you that is also in the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame, and unfortunately she's not here to join us. But Ed was telling me about your wife and the integral part that she's had in growing the whiskey and bourbon world in Kentucky. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what she's known for and what she's done and how you guys kind of operate together?
we actually kind of got this in process at Maker's Mark, and we kind of had a saying down there that I made it, she told about it. So to elaborate on that a little bit, she actually started and brought the visitor experience at Maker's Mark to full flow, and she has been very instrumental about. Her and a couple of other ladies actually formed the Bourbon Trail. They started the tourism programs that are now pretty much widely spread throughout all of the industry. So she's been very instrumental about that, and she was inducted into the Hall of Fame also. So we are the only living couple that are both in the Bourbon Hall of Fame. The other couple is T.W. and Marge Samuels, which are both deceased.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate all that you guys have done for us. Let's have a little cheers to, because we haven't cheers.
Wait, I got one
on
more.
whiskey.
Oh.
We're not ending it.
Good.
We're just having a little cheers on some
cheers.
whiskey.
We got like 4 hours of questions.
Oh, I know you do.
We all need a drink in the middle of it.
I forgot which one we're drinking, but this is damn good.
That's the fusion.
This is the Fusion?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're all drinking the same one. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking the Collaboration. So I
Perfect.
cheated.
We haven't gotten to
I went off scale.
There's no rules.
Yeah, there's no rules.
Well, let me drink this and I'll get the Fusion.
We haven't talked about the other product. We talked about the Copper and Kings and the Fusion, and we're sitting here with the Discovery as well. Can you elaborate a little bit on that product?
Yeah, the Discovery is a totally different venture. I mean, it kind of alludes to the ability to blend. I mean, you can put 3 or 4 products together, does not mean that it's good.
Right.
So we went through pretty much the same process we did with the Fusion, but all of these products, there's 4 of them that are purchased. It has a 13-year-old, they're all Kentucky bourbons, a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 5-year-old, different percentages. The basis of the entire blend is the 10 and 11-year-old. The 5, I feel like, gives it that younger mouthful of spicy, peppery flavor profile that rye does. The older gives it that caramel, vanilla, woody, flavors that an older product have. So by rounding it out to that, and I keep asking, every time I sample with somebody, I ask, what proof do you think this is? And everybody consistently guessed about 10 to 15% proof under what it is.
Wow.
That's 100% true. Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's got a really unique finish to it. It's a fairly short finish, but when you swallow it does not give you that burn that you get down. It gives you the warm feeling, which I call the Kentucky hug.
Did you come up with that, or
No.
No,
It's been around?
I'm gonna have to let you know that Freddie knows one that came up
Absolutely, he
with that.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, Freddie.
Is that Beam?
Yeah.
That's Jim Beam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is he a buddy of yours?
he's a real good friend of mine.
If
Freddie.
you guys aren't friends, then something's wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that's one unique thing about the bourbon industry. I'm friends with every master distiller that's out there, and we're a very tight-knit group. If you look back in history, bourbon actually evolved from 2 or 3 primary family names. Beam is probably one of the primary ones. Willits, Shapiro's, Samuels, they're some of the historical, I call them pioneers of the industry. They're the ones that developed, moved it into where it's at now.
They're the drunks with the business plan.
That's right.
Everyone else is just no business plan.
If it didn't work, they didn't care.
It's very true. Yeah, totally right. So going back to so you spent a lot of time in Kentucky. If people don't know that you were with Maker's Mark, he was with Maker's Mark. He's why Maker's Mark is Maker's Mark. What is it like leaving there and going to Wyoming, which is clear across the country, where all your buddies are still in Kentucky, and then how good does it feel to be back?
Well, Maker's Mark was a great learning experience for me. They had one product, one process, and it was strictly this way down the line.
Yeah.
Which was a great learning experience. When I went to Wyoming, I was down at Maker's Mark 32 years. I went through every job down there. At some point, I operated every piece of equipment. did every from night watchman to janitor to warehouse supervisor, bottling, whatever.
Can you imagine seeing Steve like swirling keys on his finger with a flashlight, night watching the building?
I kind of can.
Yeah, me too. Totally. I can see you like someone coming up to the building instead of you like saying get out. You're like, hey, come on, let's sit down. Let's have a conversation.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But then when I went to Wyoming, I had grown up, thought I knew, what was going on in the industry, but I thought, well, I'm going 1,500 miles away. Nobody will know what I'm doing. Well, wrong. They knew exactly what I was doing, but it gave me the freedom to kind of experience and to put into practice what I'd learned. There, I did get to experiment a little bit. I did some rye product, mostly wheat, but some rye. I was out there 6.5 years. I came back to Bardstown. Well, the horizon just opened up here because I'm free here to do pretty much anything I want. We've tried, of course, 41 recipes is what we're running now. We can do collaborations, finishes in different barrels, different products. It's just almost anything we want to do. I actually have done a couple of recipes that the president of the company didn't know anything about until they were finished. So, I didn't get fired, so I'm okay.
Nice.
Yeah, perfect.
But it's just been a totally different experience with all three companies, and it's been great. This has been an industry that's been great to me. I've never looked back and said, I'm sorry I did that.
Yeah.
It's just been fascinating. If I retire, when I retire, I don't know. As long as I feel good and it's exciting, I'll stay with it.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know how you leave. Everyone wants to get in. I don't know how you leave.
It's tough.
Yeah, right. So we've talked to a couple head distillers, master distillers before, and the most recent one we talked to, I felt was about to jump into the fermenting tank and clean it out. How often are you doing that right now? You got guys for that.
I don't get in it for first, but because of OSHA regulations, no, we're not allowed to get in. For safety reasons. If you do, you have to have a confined space permit. Tile, retrieval, all of the above.
Perfect.
But to go back several years back, when I first started Maker's Mark, we threw a ladder in, jumped in, cleaned it out, and jumped back out.
Yeah.
So, the rules and regulations, which it's all good safety practices, but...
Especially when you don't have to jump in them anymore. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
whatever that needs to be.
Do you think Crystal Lake follows the OSHA rules? Because
they didn't with you, that's for sure.
We brewed some beer with Crystal Lake, and they're like, hey, who wants to jump in the tank? I'm like, I will.
Yeah. They made him take off his shirt, and they sprayed him with Spam, and then they jumped in.
Was that just so it'd be easier to pull out?
Right, yeah.
But it's a CO2 issue is the whole issue behind it. But
these tanks were a little bit smaller than I think the ones you're working on right now. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, actually, they weren't too much. His might have been, but the ones at Makers were 10,000 gallons. The ones I have now are 12,000. So
yeah, I think we were on
not that.
Maybe 2,000?
1,600?
1,600,
okay.
Yeah, I think it was 1,600.
Yeah. So you could jump up on the side and pull yourself out of that one.
Yeah.
No issues. Yeah. But, it's just something that's evolved. And like I said, a lot of it's good practices. Some of it sometimes you think is why, but, it's meant for it's to keep employees safe.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you say that has changed the most in the bourbon and whiskey industry, like throughout the years? We talk about a lot of collaborations these days. Was that something that existed, maybe 20 years ago?
I don't think it did. I think blends probably existed some, but finishing wasn't. Probably the first ones that really did any notable was Angel's Envy. Lincoln Henderson, he started finishing in the port barrels, and that was probably the first notable one that really did that. And now there's just anything you can think of pretty much has been bourbon finished in it.
Yeah, it seems like it was very traditional 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and now it seems like the trends are all being kind of bucked by you guys as a newer bourbon company and a couple other ones out there that are just doing anything and everything just to see if it's good, which is it's great for the consumer because it just expands our horizons and gives us a lot more opportunities to drink something that we wouldn't normally get to drink. So.
And I think a whole lot of that's been brought forth by the micro industry, which is coming in, and part of their reasoning for doing that is to get the product on the market quicker. The older distillers, they had product in the warehouses so they could wait, no problem. New guy coming in, he's been operating for 2 or 3 years, and cash is getting short. He needs to get product on the market, so accelerate aging, finishes in different barrels, something to get that clinch that I can get on the market quicker than normally would be possible.
It seems like every other week there's a new rack house or rick house getting burnt to the ground in Kentucky. Are you friends with any of the fire marshals down there? And who's watching over those
Who's
guys?
in charge of saying yes, this building's acceptable to work in?
Well, we are really the company themselves are responsible for it, but the rick houses that have fallen or burned or whatever are 70, 80-year-old houses.
Sure.
They're houses that probably should have been either worked on or condemned, and they keep using.
You think?
Just a thought.
Yeah.
They keep using them as long as they can because we're fighting for storage space right now.
Yeah.
Busick is one of the primary warehouse builders. They're building them as fast as they can. They're probably building 10 to 12 houses a year.
So instead of creating whiskey, we should just go build rick houses.
We could start a company doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just take like as part of the deal, we take like 0.5% of whatever alcohol you make.
Just to drink or to sell?
Does
Both?
it matter? Yeah.
Both.
Yeah,
just,
both.
Just don't drink while you're building the house.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
right. Otherwise, it'll get burnt down or fall down.
Steve,
Yeah.
I think you could get off of the day-to-day grind, and you could just be a contract worker now. You want in on this?
No.
No, you're good?
I'll,
All right.
I'll stick to what
for
I'll
sure.
make product. You build the house, store it in.
All right,
Perfect. And then we'll drink it.
How many rick houses do you guys have right now?
We have 5. We're working on number 6. We have 4. Or
Number
tw-
8's going to be the number. That's going to be the best one. That's Rick House
6,
H.
7, 8.
H.
Yeah,
Rick
8.
House H is always the one that gets knocked down. Or gets
That's going
tornado
to be
hits it or
that's
fire.
going to be next to our last house. On that property we have 100 acres, but number 9 will fill it up.
Oh, wow.
I can't wait to try the Rick House H juice. That's
That's going to be the honey
That's
barrels?
the honey barrels for sure. It seems like the Rick House H has either the best whiskey that comes out of from whatever distillery, or that's the one that gets knocked down from natural disaster.
Well, that's kind of the opposite of traction, isn't it? I mean, either you have a great product or you don't have nothing.
Well, either way, I can't find it. So
Nice. This has been an absolute wonderful experience. Thank you so much for joining us. The product is delicious. For all of our listeners out there, Bardstown Bourbon Company, check it out. They're available at Binny's. Come to the Burger Social or Maize and Mash. We're going to have all of their products available. As they roll out new products, we will definitely be bringing them in. And this is going to be part 1 of a series that we do with Bardstown Bourbon Company. Keep an ear out for next year sometime when we actually go down to the distillery and get to join Steve down there for a little bit more interaction and to check out the behind-the-scenes action down there, which I'm super excited about. Johnny's our question master. John, did you have any more questions before we wrap this up?
I don't think I do. Is there any kind of funny story around the industry that you've been a part of where something happened and
Yeah, but I'm not telling you about them.
Perfect.
it'll all get cut. I promise.
you seem like a humorous kind of guy, so I
Yeah.
thought maybe I'd try to get something out of you.
Yeah, no luck.
No dice. Gary, you got anything else?
No, this has been an absolute pleasure. I couldn't be any more excited.
Yeah, well, cheers to you, Steve. We really appreciate you making all the good stuff that you do and taking time out of your day. We know you're busy, but hopefully you have a safe trip back to Kentucky, and we'll see you down there sometime.
Thank you very much. And
Cheers.
one thing I want to say is that anybody that's in the Bardstown, Kentucky area, stop in. We're a new venue, a modern distillery that is pretty much functions on transparency. Anything we do is out there for you to see, take pictures, ask questions, whatever. We're excited to have you down there. So here's
Beautiful.
to cheers.
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 Love it.